This video is to help you with the ExploreFraming assignment. Now for this assignment, we are going to be pasting or placing images that you have already taken from your photo assignment, or you could use the ones from your point, line, plane assignment, or you can choose to take new photos. It's totally up to you, but I'd like you to look at photos that you've taken to use for this assignment. And what you're going to do is you're going to choose 6 of those photos, and you're going to experiment with recropping them or reframing them, because when you reframe an image or crop it in a different way, it can have different meaning or have different expression, or it can actually create something that is a little bit more interesting or engaging. And so the way we're going to do that is in Adobe InDesign, because in InDesign, because it has that automatic crop window or image window, then it makes it really easy to recrop or resize images rather than having to do an actual physical crop in Photoshop or doing a clipping mask in Illustrator. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a new InDesign document, and you're going to make it 8.5 inches by 11 inches, and make sure that yours doesn't say like 41p0. If it does, make sure you put the inch mark in there so that it actually shows inches. Now, if you prefer to work in inches rather than points and picas, before you create any document, I'm going to cancel out of this, and you can go to Preferences and go to Units and Increments. And right here you can change it from inches to points and picas, or vice versa, or whatever unit of measurement you'd like to use. Now, I'm going to leave it on inches because that's what we're working in here. Just make sure that you don't leave it in pixels or points and have a really small document that's not the right size. So I'm going to create a new document. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that facing pages is unchecked here. So without facing pages, because I want my files to be stacked, or my pages to be stacked. And then we're going to have 6 pages here. And it doesn't matter what the columns or margins, because we're not going to really deal with those in this assignment. So I'm going to hit OK. So now if I back out, you can see I've got 6 pages here. And what we're going to do is, and I'm going to hide some of these palettes, we're going to place an image, one of those images, on this first page, and we're going to make 3 different variations of that image. So if you notice in the instructions, place one of those images in its original cropping or proportion. So I'm going to file place an image, or Command D, and then I'm going to find some images. I'm going to use the images I have for the point, line, plane, and I'm going to take this image, and if I place it, then this image is its original proportion if I don't click and drag. Now, if you look at what the image size is up here, what I want you to do is to make the longest edge at least 5 inches long. So the longest edge right now is 4.2 by 2.83, which means this image I've chosen is not large enough because I don't want to stretch it and make it pixelized. So I'm going to delete that and see if I can find one that is larger than that. Let's see what I've got here, and all of these are square, so maybe these aren't gonna work. Let's try this big cat one. This one I think is large enough. So I'm just gonna click once, and if you notice, this is larger, and I can go up here and I can see that it's 10.444444 wide by almost 7. Now the longest edge needs to be 5 inches. Now what I want to do is, right now I want to group those or link those 2 sides together, because I'm going to change this number to 5 inches, and if I don't link it, then it will not change proportionally. So I'm going to change this to 5 inches, and if you notice, it changed just that outside box there. And so what I'm going to do now, instead of having to click on it and drag it in, right over here, I'm going to use this very first one, which will fill the frame proportionally. And now I've got my original image in my frame. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to look at, can you identify different portions of this, or can you recrop this image to have it say something different? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I can option click and copy this image. And make sure you take advantage of your screen. I've got a really big screen here. You can zoom in here. And I'm going to play with maybe looking at changing the size of this. Maybe I'm going to go square with my orientation. I can use the content grabber to grab that content here. And it might be interesting to see what happens if I just change where the main focal point, instead of being in the center here, I'm going to drag it to this left side and then have the rest of the image on this right hand side. Now if you see it, it does change the nature of the image a little bit by playing with that cropping. So that might be one option. And it doesn't matter where you place these, just try and place your original image someplace at the top. And then I'm going to make another copy here, and this one I'm going to play with scale. So I'm going to make this larger and maybe zoom in on just the eyes of this leopard or cheetah, I guess. Big cat, whatever it is. And look at where it is within this format. Now, it doesn't have to be square. It can be whatever you want. So maybe I want to do something that's tall. Let's see, we're going to do something like that. Maybe I want it a little bit larger. Yeah, that's kind of interesting, focusing on just the eye. And then we're going to do one more here, and we're going to see what happens if we focus maybe just on the eyes and give ourselves some room to the right of this. So now I've got my original image, and I've got a reframing or recropping of it in 3 additional ways. Now once you have that, then you've got 5 other images that I want you to experiment with cropping. And so, again, you can use images you've already taken, or you can take new photos. It's totally up to you. And once you get all of these, make sure you save your InDesign document. So I'm going to call this Framing Explore, something like that. Make sure you keep this file in the same folder as your images, because in InDesign it does want to refer to that image or be linked to that image. And then what you're going to upload to Canvas is a press quality PDF document. And if you remember, in InDesign you don't save as. What you do is you file export or Command E. And once you do that, you can see Adobe PDF print, hit save. And then in the drop down, we want press quality. If you leave it high quality, it's going to have extra resolution we don't need in that. So leave it press quality. And you want to do all the pages. And then I usually check this view PDF after exporting. And now when I export it, it'll take just a second here, and it'll automatically open my PDF so I can make sure that it is what it needs to be. So make sure you've got 6 pages with your 6 different cropping or reframing, and then that's what you're going to upload to Canvas. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.